So recently I just got my very first exotic class item for the Warlock, and little did I know that I would have gotten what is quite possibly the best roll that you could get for the class item. So in the left side of the effects, we have Spirit of the Apotheosis. This is the one that is specific to Warlocks, where after you cast your super, you gain melee and grenade regeneration right after your super. This is the typical Apotheosis helmet, and I still remember that before these class items, everyone was saying that they wished that the Warlock had something similar to a Celestial Nighthawk or a Curator of the Falling Star for Titans. And this was the budget version, right? You would plop down your well and you would just spam solar grenades. So we have that on this bond, but also we have Spirit of the Star Eater, which all classes have the possibility to get this. But this in combination with Apotheosis, this is just begging to be used for a big DPS super, right? So we're going to test that today. First things first, I will say I'm not using any of the DPS boosting mods in the artifact, so I'm not using any void sources to increase damage. I'm not using any increased grenade recharge or damage or stuff like that. As for the build, we are going all out on Prismatic, of course, because you have to use that for the class item. And we're going to be using Nova Bomb instead of Needlestorm. Nova Bomb was recently buffed to do more damage, and in fact you'll see the damage numbers here in just a second. Otherwise we're going to be using a standard healing rift, a jump, an arcane needle because that gives us 3 arcane needles, and more importantly it is a strand ability, and then storm grenades will be our grenade of choice. It's essentially we're taking everything from the other classes and making it the best it can be. We're taking Star Eaters from Hunters, we're taking Storm Grenade spam from Heart of Inmost Light Titans, and then we're having our own big Nova Bomb that has just been buffed with Apotheosis Veil. For our aspects, I just like Devour because it's very nice to get back your grenade in regular neutral play. And we also have Helion. This will give us some extra little bit of fire and solar damage in our Rift, trying to eke out as much damage as possible during a DPS phase. As for our fragments, they're pretty standard, nothing too special. Protection, we have Ruin here, which will increase our solar ignition size. We have Courage. This is the one that is most important. Your Arc, Solar, and Void abilities, Arc being our Storm Grenade, deals increased damage to targets inflicted with a Darkness debuff, like for example, Sever, which is caused by our Arcane Needle, or sorry, Unraveling, not Sever. Otherwise, Facet of Sacrifice and Facet of Purpose just for your regular neutral gameplay. Now, in the following tests, there is a Solar and a Strand Surge in the dungeon. Unfortunately, I cannot turn those off, so it's at least thankful that Solar and Strand are sort of the least impactful damage sources of the abilities that we're using. But what that means is that if there is ever a Void or especially an Arc Surge, you can be doing a lot more damage than whatever will be shown here. And of course, we're going to be testing on the Ogre in Grasp of Avarice. So starting off, we're going to do a base damage test. This will be nothing but the regular Nova Bomb, so no class item equipped. And you'll see that the total damage done is 379,276. This is with also no other external debuffs. This is just raw damage, no increases, nothing else. Now, however, with Feast of Light times 6, which is the maximum amount of stacks that you can get, 6 same as regular Star Eater scales, you can see that our Nova Bomb will now do an increased amount of damage. That is 641,884, and that is about a 70% increase over that first Nova Bomb, which is the exact same buff that regular Star Eaters has on a Hunter. And for those of you curious about what happens if you use Needlestorm instead of Nova Bomb, well, I got you covered. Here we have Feast of Light times 6 again, so we're getting that 70% damage boost, and remember, this is also on a Strand Surge, and you will see that the damage is only 639,000, which is the exact same as the Void without a Surge. Now, however, that was all only one half of the exotic item. That was just the Feast of Light. Now, we're going to test out the Apotheosis Veil. So, I placed down a Helion, and I start throwing early actually, so this is not even optimal, right? But the Storm Grenade's down. I first throw an Arcane Needle to get the Darkness debuff, then I throw a Super, and now I just start spamming my abilities, like it's an MMO or something like that. And then once that goes off, you'll notice that it actually get my Transcendence back up. Because I'm using a Darkness melee and a Light super as well as a Light grenade, this charges up your Transcendence really quickly, which means more ability spam, more grenades which are Void and Stasis, and then more Arcane Needles, and also another Helion that you can summon when you use your class ability. Now when we wipe here, you will see our total damage is going to be a very substantial 1.8 million damage. And remember, this is with literally only ability spam. I could have shot some Witherhoard shots and some bait and switch rockets in between. In fact, you absolutely can. This is also with no other forms of weaken, so there's no div or anything. Nobody used a tractor cannon. So in theory, that is the bare minimum. That could be increased by another 30% to about 2.34 million if we're only talking about ability spam. And then you include the potential surges as well. If there is an arc surge or a void surge, it is just game over with the damage department. Then of course you consider having a Witherhoard as well, maybe being tucked in there, as well as a Gallowhorn boosted rocket. And the damage potential is just insane. So yeah, hopefully though, if you are lucky enough to get this exact class item, you now have what is probably one of the best DPS options for a Warlock. Now I know that is a bit of a tough ask. It is essentially a 1 in 64 chance, since there's 8 options in the left column, 8 options in the right column. I have heard that if you leave a like and a comment on this video, it does increase the chances of you getting the exotic class item you want by at least 4%. So go on ahead and do that. Until next time, peace.